It is time for the final match of our Heart of the Swarm, King of the Hill, Best of 9, brought to you by SC2TV.RU. Wow, we've had an amazing series of games. HyuN with the GLHF and the exasperated. What a sick series of games this has been. We're gonna finish things up on Kespa's Neo Bifrost, one of my personal favorite maps. Without further ado, let's introduce these players. Spawning in the top right position, this man started this series down 1-3, has brought it back to 4-4. Can he finish it up? Can he take home this title and stay on top of this King of the Hill? It is from Quantic.HyuN. And spawning in the bottom left position, the Ukrainian Protoss, known famously for defending his expansions at all costs. He's been playing really well. Did a lot better than I expected him to. He is WhiteRa. Now, this map is even farther different than anything else that we've seen in StarCraft 2, at least. We have an interesting subway terminal that runs around the map that the units can actually pass through, and this subway leads into the entrance of both players' naturals from the back side. So this opens up a lot of opportunities for players to try to sneak units, Zergling run-bys, all sorts of crazy shenanigans. WhiteRa's going to try to block this expansion. He needs to be smart with what he does, because he needs to wall off the front, of course. But keep in mind, both players have this subway entrance, and the terminals, of course, located at the corners of the map to enter these. So we have Forge going first for WhiteRa. I think this is a smart decision. You don't want to take anything. Don't want to take any risks. Of course, this means that a Protoss player kind of has to wall off 2 areas now in order to be able to get into this position. So this is one of my favorite maps. I really like it for Terran matchups just because of the craziness of dropping and the Reapers jumping up into the terminals. But for ZvP, it's definitely given us some good shows as well with the counterattacks, run-bys. Even the shaders on this map look pretty good. So the pylon block goes down, and it looked like HyuN wanted to take a pretty fast hatchery, and he has one going now at the 3rd location. But this was delayed by quite a bit by WhiteRa, so very good on him. He kind of realizes if you're a Protoss player and you're going to expand and get a Forge first, then you definitely want to go try to block with the pylon. Of course, if your opponent kind of agreed, he's like, okay, well, you went for a 15 hatch, or no, you went for a 15 pool, then a 15 hatch. Okay, well, I'll just Nexus first. I mean, blocking it isn't worth it because I'm going to be even on economy. But of course, if you open with a Forge, you will be behind against a really fast hatchery. So blocking it with a pylon is just kind of one of those ways to stay even, not really fall behind, and kind of keep the Zerg player in check, because sometimes you can also force weird reactions. And we're going to have to see. Now, HyuN, he's got his overload over here. He sees pretty much everything from our Protoss player WhiteRa that's going on. And I have to say, right now, I feel like this map should favor Zerg just because of the terminal. We actually have 3 Zerglings made by HyuN. This is a little bit more than he's done in the previous games. The gateway is complete. We should see a cybernetics core. If he doesn't make a zealot, these 3 Zerglings could actually cause him a bit of trouble, just being able to deal damage to the mineral line because he can walk around. He doesn't have a pylon by the entrance of the subway, so he doesn't actually know about this. And in the meantime, HyuN's just going to drone on up. He's totally comfortable with what he's doing right now. And here come the Zerglings. Are they going to be able to get any probes? Let's see. One of them chips the paint, but it looks like they're going to get away. We have a zealot being should be chrono boosted right now. Well, I guess it's close enough to finishing, so the Zerglings won't do too much. If they'd gotten in here a lot earlier, they could be a big deal, but killing probes is going to be huge. He might almost get one. No, the zealot's trying to poke away, but of course the Zerglings move faster than the zealot. The cybernetic score is complete. We need to get a stalker. There he goes. He's going to chrono boost a stalker out. Very important for dealing with Zerglings in your base, of course, because stalkers are ranged, and this zealot moves so slow. The Zerglings, they just poke away at these probes, run away, gets 1 probe. Already a really nice catch. WhiteRa, LOLs. He doesn't know map. He's never played on this map before. He didn't realize he had a subway leading in his base. HyuN, LOLs. Oh man, these Zerglings doing a lot of damage. Like, Brood War map. apparently, this makes things a little bit tricky. WhiteRa, he's going to start at a bit of a disadvantage here because of the probes the probe he lost, the bit of microing he's had to do, and he's going to need to catch these, and he's going to go for a double Stargate play. And the other thing about these Zerglings being in the base, HyuN, oh my goodness, he might actually see this if he runs around long enough. This is so close. Oh no, he sees the double Stargate. The Zerglings will die, but he's going to immediately cancel and get a robo. That is, this is WhiteRa's way of saying, you know what, I'm not just here to have fun sometimes. I want to win this damn match too. This has gone all the way up to 9 games. I didn't spend my afternoon playing StarCraft to lose to you because you scouted me on a map I've never played on before. And, well, HyuN's going to take his gas and his natural base and his third base. So this is one of those things that HyuN's actually kind of known for. Doesn't take the gas in his main as often. It lets you have it last longer, of course, because the minerals will mine out of your main base long before the gas does. So it kind of ensures a little bit of gas later on in the case that these bases get harassed a lot. And we have an evolution chamber coming up. The lair is on the way, but an Overlord's going to walk in, and HyuN is going to see that WhiteRa has canceled the Stargates and gone for a Robo Gateway. So now he's going to get the Robotics Bay, and, well, WhiteRa's been had. He didn't get away with canceling the tech, so he's really just delayed his own tech by a lot by doing this. He's walled off the entrance to the subway terminal, so he's going to be safe from any kind of counterattacks there. These Zerglings are going to run back. A little bit of pressure coming in here in the form of a couple of Stalkers, a couple of Zealots, literally a couple, and a Mothership Core. So trying to poke out, and HyuN's going to take a 4th base really, really quickly. WhiteRa trying to catch this Overlord. He's like, man, I just can't quite reach it. Oh, there he goes. He manages. How is he able to hit that? That barely in range. Manages to get the Overlord, though. So nice catch. That's going to prevent HyuN from being able to see WhiteRa move out. But this poor Stalker looks like it may get trapped. Mothership Core and the Zealots show up to save it. It's dancing around. It will survive. And these Zerglings are going to try to run into the main base, but they will be taken out. Love that sliding so much when the units die and they're moving at high velocities. Or moving with high velocity. Now, out of HyuN, we are seeing a very similar setup to the last game. Pneumaticized Carapace, Ventral Sacs. He's going to go for the Overlord drops again. And this is going to be pretty significant. He's going to go for the same style as the last game. And it's going to be hard for WhiteRa to deal with. He got picked apart by this, the big drops with the roaches. And it looks like HyuN, this is going to be really scary. He's already starting to put out a ton of roaches. I'm only curious. He only has 1 evolution chamber to get upgrades, but it does not appear that WhiteRa has any upgrades other than +1. And with his army comp and the way that he's setting himself up right now, it looks like WhiteRa is just going to try to do a 2-base Colossus all-in with this force. And if he hits right before the drop play, all HyuN will have is roaches. He has a couple force fields. There's not actually that many force fields available for WhiteRa. He needs to keep this Mothership Core alive. I feel like that mass recall ability could allow him to go home after this, but an Overseer with that Overlord speed, I wonder if WhiteRa will notice that the speed upgrades in research. He's going to walk in and see, okay, you're researching that range, you're getting Colossus out. I have an idea of what you're doing. And now we have, there's only 1 Immortal, and now WhiteRa's warped in more sentries for force fields, but he needs to decisively win this engagement if he wants to take this game. This is going to be very, very difficult. And we have the +2 missile weapons being researched by HyuN. Looks like it's going to be pretty much a Wings of Liberty game. Sans, of course, the Mothership Core is going to be here as well. But here we have the drop coming in. The ton of Overlords there. And WhiteRa is getting slowed down a bit by these Zerglings. It looks like, no! He doesn't want to drop him there. He's just going to go drop the main base and pull this Protoss army all the way home. WhiteRa, though, he can mass recall back. That's probably, wow, it would be a really nice use of the Mothership Core right now. He sees, okay, you're going to unload. He should recall. There you go. WhiteRa's already back at home. And this drop from HyuN, not going to do terribly much. A really great defense by WhiteRa, actually. That went a lot better than I expected. And he actually was able to get some Zealots in there to harass as well. So the drop couldn't do too much. That's one of the really awesome things about the Mothership Core. It gives you that flexibility to not die to such really, really crazy big pushes, though. WhiteRa has a couple units on the field, might get caught. His proxy pylons are going to go down, and it's just Roach Ling for HyuN. So this is a composition that this Colossus count is good versus, but the Overlords immediately move back in for HyuN. and the Mothership Core is back at home as well, so it cannot Master Recall. It's going to activate the Photon Overcharge, but will that be enough to stop this? One of the Colossus comes out of the Robotics Bay immediately, gets caught by the Lings and Roaches and will die, and WhiteRa's just going to try to go for a big counter push, but is he going to be able to win a base trade? There is Zerg all over his base. He doesn't have any flying buildings. It is in a literal base trade. WhiteRa is going to be in a lot of trouble if a couple of drones manage to get out, and the thing is, HyuN can just put drones into Overlords and fly them away now. So this is really, really scary. The Overlords showering the base with their creep, and these Roaches just picking everything apart. The Mothership futile in its attempts to poke away at these Roaches, and by the time WhiteRa kills all of these bases and moves up to the main, there's going to be 10 Spine Crawlers. He's moving in, killing the robotics facility now. The third base is falling. Drones are actually trying to get away, but WhiteRa might be able to get all of them. It's so important that he gets all of the drones. I can't tell. Did any get away? Yes, some got away. I don't think. Then in a base trade, HyuN's going to be able to rebuild. This is going to be very, very difficult, but is he going to be able to get there in time? He has a couple of proxy pylons. He has a Nexus, but now that that's gone, his last 2 pylons will be revealed, and WhiteRa is he's going to go down. I don't see many real way for him to push through and kill all of these buildings before HyuN kills his buildings. So he finds one of the pylons, and that's it. There's the GG. Well played from WhiteRa, our winner of today's SC2 TV RU show match for Heart of the Swarm will be Quantic Gaming's HyuN. Taking his umpteenth win in a row, of course. He's basically employed by these guys. Really great series. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your caster, Nathanias.